Hi, welcome to Ski Talk, brought to you by skis.com. I'm Kevin. Today I'm joined by Nordica representative John Kirchhoff. Thanks for being here, John.
For sure. Thanks, Kevin.
We're going to give you a quick rundown of a popular line of boots from Nordica, the Fire Arrow series. John, this series was brand new last year, and it kind of broke the ski industry mold of how you traditionally build a boot, right?
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of skiers out there that grew up in that race boot, that iconic four-buckle, just pin to your foot type mentality. That, let's call a spade. We've evolved past it, and thank goodness skiing has evolved past it. If you think over the last decade, the evolution in skis has been nothing short of amazing. Adding shape, adding width, obviously adding 10 different types of rocker. The one thing that hadn't grown or evolved is your ski boots. We were still pinned to the shell. Yeah. For those of us that want to get up early and hit it and be on the mountain all day, that just wasn't a great scenario. So Nordica went back to the drawing board and looked at how we apply force to a ski. A four-buckle boot wants to go from toe to heel, toe to heel. That's just the way it works. Still works at the elite levels for World Cup because that's the way they ski. But for the rest of us that are hitting the whole mountain, we actually looked at it and realized we need to go way more lateral in terms of the way of the boot. So a much more modern shell concept, which is what Fire Arrow delivers, and then some incredible attention to detail and engineering to apply force to the edge of that ski.
So like you said, new shell concept, we got a three-piece shell here.
Yep, for sure. And not all three-piece boots are created the same. Even within Nordica's family of boots, whether it's the Park, the mid-mountain, or the big mountain stuff, we actually look at each and every line of boots totally, dialed to each and every customer.
So 100 millimeter last, which is, it's roomy, but it's still performance oriented, right?
It's average. It's like your favorite pair of running shoes. It wraps your foot, but at the end of the day, you don't feel like you got to peel these things off your foot. For me, last year, this was the boot of choice in the Fire Arrow F1. And I've skied all over the place, from little bitty hills in my backyard to the mountains, and it's the most comfortable I've been in a pair of boots my entire life.
And, a lot of guys, the performance guys, they think they have to be in a 98 millimeter last. But what's unique about this is you get an exceptional amount of heel hold here with a 100 millimeter last because of this 45-degree instep.
Yeah, you know what's funny? When we first started looking at this, and it really was born out of the Park scene, because those guys are getting such huge airs, and they were popping off the bottom of their boots, which is pretty scary. So Nordica looked at, a ton of different positions and angles for this Instep Buckle, and actually realized that a three-buckle boot has better heel retention than any four-buckle boot we've ever thought about creating, or anybody else has. Because instead of drawing the foot down or the foot back, it draws it securely right back into the heel cup. So at any level, any three-piece setup from Nordica is going to be exactly at 45 degrees, which is half the key to the fit of this boot.
For sure. Another thing here that's totally unique, the EDT system.
Yeah. Through the World Cup, Nordica realized that creating more force from tip to tail is really easy. You just make something thicker. What has become an incredible challenge, and it's really kind of born out of Formula One, is anti-torsion. You start thinking about the forces and the loads, not so much at the 80 millimeter waist, but at 90s, 100s, 113s. All of a sudden there's so much torque and force put into the boot board that it just twists out. So again, targeting that skier who hits the mountain all day as hard as they can imagine, we actually put an anti-torsion carbon fiber boot board in this called EDT, which is an efficient way of controlling that energy. It's mounted into the boot itself, and you get absolutely zero loss of torsion and power in this boot. It's pretty incredible.
So for that guy that previously, with an all-mountain boot, felt there's too much flex in the sole, not an issue here at all.
Zero, man, zero.
Okay, so another unique thing here is the pivot point on this boot.
It's another thing we've learned over decades and decades of building boots for every level of skier out there, is where you create the hinge point is absolutely pivotal to how it applies force back to the ski. So Nordica has a thing called the mechanical advantage of how we tweak boots, and it's actually done through the back and the spine on flex blocks, in addition to where we apply the hinge point. So in a high performance boot like this, we're actually going to go higher and farther back to compound the energy to create more lever and more force to the edge of the ski with less effort from the skier, so you're saved at the end of the day. In addition to that, at the back of a Fire Arrow series of boots, we do have flex tuning. And so we can take this boot from a moderate, a medium flex boot for the lower portions of the mountain or the softer snows. You could actually flip it over to the other stage, and this thing steps right up because we've controlled where the boot engages. If you want that, it's like a clutch. Where do you want it to engage? You want it really tight and really high performance. We then couple that with this power frame on the back. So if you're someone that likes to actually rocker off your tail to generate more force, more speed, more power, Formula One's probably a great analogy here because this thing's got all the speed in the world.
Nice. So we've got 3 boots in the Fire Arrow series for men, right?
Yeah. There's an F1 at the top end of the heap, F2, F3.
Okay.
As you come down, we're going to soften each level of boot. We're going to soften the fit through different durometers and materials inside. And it's kind of like picking out your sports car, just how much engine, how much power do you want. You know, F1, there is no one on the planet that's going to overski that boot. F2 is a little more of an all-purpose boot, and the F3 is probably the champ of the group because, you know, you're a black diamond skier who skis from, you know, rope drop to sundown. Any one of these will do it. It's just how much power do you want.
For sure. So exciting new stuff from Nordica. It continues to evolve this year with, you know, the collection of the fire arrows. I mean, just really, really great concept. It's running with it. You've expanded it down the line to a new series, which we'll get into later, but definitely stoked on the fire arrow series. If you're looking for a high-performance, modern, all-mountain boot, definitely check out the fire arrow series from Nordica. I'm Kevin. This is John. Thanks for joining us today on Ski Talk, brought to you by skis.com.